Hey, this is Bo from Open Source Skateboards, and for this trick tip, we're going to learn how to get into Railstand in 3 simple ways. A railstand is when you're standing on the side of your board, and I grew up calling this a Primo stand. I'm not really sure if either of those is wrong, but the name really doesn't matter. Anyways, there are 3 basic ways of getting into a railstand. The first way I learned is called a heel side railstand. Basically, the board rolls in the direction of your heels. This is kind of confusing because it actually rolls in the same direction as a kickflip, opposite of a heel flip. To do a heel side railstand, place your feet over the bolt of your skateboard. Move your front foot so that your heel is hanging off the board a bit, and then move your back foot so that your toes are hanging off the board a bit. I like to angle my front foot a little bit as well. Keep your body centered over the board with your shoulders parallel to the board. Then, for the next part, you need to do 2 things simultaneously. Use the toes of your front foot to push down on the heel side of your board, while ever so slightly jumping, lifting your back foot up. Then use your back foot to stop the board's rotation once it does a quarter rotation, and set your front foot on the rail. To get out of a rail stand, you simply just do a little hop and push the board in the direction you want it to go, and just land on your bolts, and you're good to go. The second basic way to get into railstand is a toe side railstand. To do this, put both feet over the bolts, then move both feet so that all your toes are hanging over the board. Keep your weight centered again and use your heels to roll your board 1/4 turn up while doing a little jump. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I actually use primarily my rear foot, my rear heel, to make the board do the turn, but that really doesn't matter. Do whatever is most comfortable for you. The third way to get into Railstand, I'm not really sure what to call it, but it's another basic version. To get into Railstand in this way, you want to start in a nose stop, which is basically standing on your board with your board's nose on the ground. Take your back foot off the board and place it underneath the board, right by the truck closer to the nose of your board. Place the inside of your foot against the rail of your board, which is the edge of your board, right where your wheel is. Then you basically give a little push with a little bit of a lift with that back foot. Try it without getting your front foot on first to see what I mean. Keep practicing with just getting that underflip-like rotation, understanding how to push and how to lift in order to make your board land in a rail stand. Once you consistently get it with one foot, slowly start putting your front foot on. With more practice, you can then speed it up. Here are some key things to remember when learning rail stands. First, stay low and keep your shoulders parallel and in line with your board. This helps you maintain stability. Second, practice is really important with these. The more you practice, the more comfortable they'll become. Start slow and master the basics. Third, a good board setup can really help. I find it easiest if my trucks are just a little narrower than my deck, maybe by like 1/8 of an inch, as this helps me feel locked in rail. Using trucks wider than your board makes balancing difficult, and trucks that are too narrow make things difficult as well. Also, I like to use offset wheels for rail stands. Offset wheels have the bearing seat more towards the trucks so that your axles don't stick out past your wheels. So, rather than being in a rail stand and resting on the side of your deck and your axles, you're resting on the side of your deck and your wheels. It adds stability and doesn't mess up your axles. Lastly, taller trucks add stability in rail stand because the taller trucks give you a more spread out and thus more stable base to stand on. As with all tricks, always try different things. Play with your weight distribution, your feet positioning, and try other techniques that might not be mentioned here or are different from what I mentioned. No 2 skaters are exactly the same, so keep experimenting to find out what works best for you. Keep practicing, and if you get stuck, please post your questions and I'll do my best to answer all of them. Anyways, have fun and go learn some rail stands. For more info, please check us out at www.opensourceboards.com and on Facebook as Open Source Skateboards. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and like our video if this has helped you.